After signing just one running back in the 2025 class, Kirby Smart and Josh Crawford are out looking for some of the very best across the country in the 2026 class, and I think they have a chance to really load up with some dynamic, possibly game-changing running backs. And I'm going to talk about that in today's video, where they sit with some of their top targets in the 2026 class at running back. There's a lot to choose from, a lot of talented backs out there, a lot of out-of-state guys that I think Georgia's, sitting in a really good spot for, and several in-state running backs that I think could be big-time runners at the next level. So we're going to talk about that in today's video. Of course, Georgia just took one in Bo Walker, the three-star, at a Raven Gap High School in last year's class. And if you're Kirby and Coach Crawford, you can sell early playing time and the opportunity to come in and help. We really have no idea what the running back room will look like in 2026. I don't think Roderick Robinson and Branson Robinson will be there. Maybe some of the freshmen stick around. Nate Frazier will be in his third year at that point. If he's still around, you never really know with out-of-state kids. A lot of guys can enter the portal. That would shock you. I think Nate Frazier will be around a couple years, but you never know. And I think whoever ends up in Georgia's 26 class at running back has the potential to see the field early and make a big impact. And that's why I think they're sitting in a good spot with some of the best across the country. I'm going to start this video talking about the two best running back prospects in the country in the 2026 class. I think Georgia sits in a favorable position right now. And the first guy is Derek Cooper, who at one point, I think back in the summer, was committed to Georgia for 24, 48 hours, then kind of backed off. But he is an explosive athlete down in Hollywood, Florida, Chaminade, Madonna Prep, 6'1", 190, incredibly elusive, explosive, a dynamic runner. He can play in the secondary. He can return kicks. He can catch the football for you, but he is being recruited to play running back, I've been told, at Georgia. He ran for 905 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. He's the number 2 running back prospect in the country in his class, number 23 overall. This guy definitely has 5-star potential. If he's not a 5-star consensus, he might be down the road. He is a big-time player with size, speed, burst, explosiveness. And again, he can catch out of the backfield, line him up anywhere. This guy's making plays. George is going to be in the mix the entire way. He's going to be in town for a junior day visit February 1st. I expect him to be back for an official visit in the summer. Kirby Smart gave him an in-home visit earlier this week, so that tells you how much of a priority he is. These coaches are not wasting their time when they go see a kid. It matters. So a lot of smoke right now between him and Georgia, but with him in Miami too, Ohio State, a lot of programs I think are in the mix, but I've been told that Georgia will be a serious contender for him throughout the process. So he's definitely got to keep an eye on. He's the number 2 running back in the country. The number 1 running back is Saven Heer. He's out of Virginia. He's been a Georgia target for a long time. The Bulldogs have been towards the top of his recruitment from the very beginning. He's no stranger to Athens, has always told me good things about Georgia when I reach out. And he's ranked as the number 1 running back in the country, 6 foot, 190 pounds. Ran wild in Virginia last year, just under 1,900 yards and 29 touchdowns in 11 games. Another guy can catch out of the backfield, make defenders miss, can run through them, can run by them. Dude was unstoppable this past year, and a guy that the Georgia staff is very high on. Josh Crawford went to visit him with an in-home visit in mid-January. I think maybe January 15th, 14th, 15th, 16th, something around there. So a guy they checked on early when they were allowed to go out and see guys. So he is a big-time playmaker out of Virginia, and a guy that I think Georgia will be in the mix for the entire way. Ohio State, I think, is going to be up there. Tennessee is involved. Michigan. So those are the 4 teams I'm hearing the most around him. So between Derek Cooper and Saven Heer, I think Georgia's in a good spot to at least land one of them. And that would be outstanding, because these two are big-time players who are really good athletes too. They're natural runners, but they're good athletes and can help in the passing game. They're tough. They've got muscular builds. They can help block in the pass game as well when they're not out in the flats or running a route. So those are the 2 best in the country, and I think Georgia is going to be in the mix for both of them the entire way. You don't need both. Both would be a grand slam, absolutely incredible haul. But I think if Georgia just lands one of these guys, I think they're in a good spot. They could probably take 3 if they wanted in this class. Again, they took 3 in the 24 class, just took 1 in the 25 cycle. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they wanted to try to bring in 3 running backs in this class. And if one of them is one of these 2 elite, dynamic, 2 of the best in the country, that shapes up really well for Josh Crawford, who I think, is, I'm not saying he's on the hot seat. The dude has been around for just 1 year. But he's got an opportunity to show, hey, I'm an ace recruiter as well, and I can go out and I can get some of the best in the country. Nate Frazier committed to Dell McGee, not Josh Crawford. Josh Crawford is the guy who's got to get out and start bringing in some elite backs to Athens. Landing one of these 2 would be a big, big deal. Let's move on to some in-state guys. Carson Baker, as I've talked about for a little bit now. Langston Hughes helped lead them to, I believe it was the 5A state championship game. They lost. But this guy, size and speed, 6 foot, 190 pounds. He's got a muscular bend as well, but he runs a 10, 6, 5 in the 100 meters. So this guy can absolutely go. He can fly down the field, can score from anywhere on the field. But again, he's a guy who breaks tackles and can run through you and pick up yards after contact and move the chains. And then occasionally, just get around guys and head down the field, and before you know it, dude's gone, right? He's not a guy you can run from behind, grab him and bring him down to the ground. He's tough to do that. Even if you catch him, you still got to bring him down to the ground. Not easy to do. So big reason why I think Georgia's involved there. They like him, a lot of potential. He was in Athens this past week. He said, what I learned most from the visit was more about the coaching staff and how everything at Georgia goes. I learned about the people who have been through Georgia and have succeeded, and how well Coach Smart and his staff have built the program. Their message from him and the staff were to make sure they keep building a relationship with me, letting me know that I can make an impact in that offense. So he ran for just under 1,300 yards last year, 13 touchdowns, hit the 100-yard mark 6 different times for Langston Hughes, and that's a team that played a lot of quality defenses week in and week out. So he was running through some of the best defenses, not only around Atlanta, but across the state. So big-time numbers against big-time teams. That's why he's ranked as the number 18 running back prospect and the number 207 overall prospect in the country. So in-state kid from Atlanta, familiar with Georgia. He likes Georgia. We'll see if that relationship continues, but I can totally see this kid in Athens if given the green light to jump on board. Another guy, Janaz Walton, ranked as the number 1 running back prospect in the state of Georgia. He's out of West Georgia Central High School. Thick, powerful, speedy back. 5'9", about 205, probably a little closer to 210. A lot of lower body strength, runs with good balance. And again, this kid claims a 10.63 in the 100 meter at 200 plus pounds. That's crazy impressive. And we're seeing more and more guys who are physically built and muscular around that 200-pound range, running just these insane track times in the 100 meters. So kids that are built, and can break tackles. You have to have the chain movers at the college level. I mean, that's just a must. You have to keep the chains moving. You have to break tackles. But if you can bring that type of speed at 200 pounds, then you're talking about the elite backs and the game changers. You've got to put it all together, but this kid looks like he's got some wiggle too. He's got the vision, breaks a lot of tackles, and when he breaks the first 2, there aren't many in his way. He knows how to take off down the field. And he's versatile. He ran for just under 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns on the ground, caught 39 passes for 646 yards and 4 touchdowns, added 346 kick return yards. I mean, this kid is legit, was very good as a freshman, very good as a sophomore, and again, ran wild as a junior. So I totally get why he's the number 1 running back in the state. He's the number 11 running back prospect in the country, number 107 overall in the country. Okay, so this kid's right outside the top 100 as far as the best high school players in America, and he's an in-state running back to keep an eye on. So definitely Janaz Walton, remember that name. And then Jay Lamar is a 4-star down at Colquitt County High School in Moultrie, one of the best programs in the state and across the country. This kid is explosive, incredible footwork, balance, body control. I mean, you think he's down. This guy just finds a way to stay on his feet. He's great around the sidelines. Just the balance and the way he runs. I love the way he plays. He's good for about 1 or 2 jaw-dropping, serious runs every game. And on any particular carry, this guy can hurdle someone, spin around someone. cut on a dime and take off down the field. Another kid who runs extremely well and, brings size, 5'11", 205 pounds. He's got a lot of offers. George is one of them. And just a really, really good player. Ran for 885 yards last year for the Packers, 11 touchdowns, quality numbers on the ground, caught 8 passes. It's not a ton, but he took him 172 yards and 2 more scores. So the guy is just a playmaker, finds the end zone. One of the best running backs, not only in South Georgia, but across the South. He's the number 14 running back prospect in the country. Great number, 148 overall. So a top 150 player in the country. He's an absolute playmaker. He's got a Georgia offer, and he's another in-state running back to keep an eye on. Of course, you can read about all of this and more over on Dawg Post. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll see you over on the website.